Hello there friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Ingeborg and the channel's name is A Stitch Too Far, and I talk about mostly cross stitching and anything else that pops into my head. It's been a while since I've done a video, but I managed to keep it a bit less long as the last one, I think. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I hope you are all well. I'm good. I feel a lot more optimistic this year than I did last year, so that's always a plus. And we are out of lockdown, but still not quite sure how to go from here because Omicron cases are still very high here, as in many other countries. And although the number of positive cases are high, the number of actual people in the ICU are not that extreme, although there still are many and there are still deaths. But so that's why we're all a bit confused about what should we do now. Anyway, it's not my job to decide. I had my booster shot, so I'm happy about that, and for the rest of it my family is okay, so nothing more that I can do. So I've been stitching quite a bit. I think my stitching book is fully back, although I have noticed that I have been stitching a bit more monogamous than before, but that may also be because I've been trying to get to certain points in my stitching, in my project. So I am happy to show you a finish and the start and some progress, some good progress on a couple of whips. So let's just start off with that. Let's see. Well, the easiest to show is Takapuna Beach, which I did show, I think, last year as well. This is tending to be my. Oh, I forgot to take out the picture, so I will insert a picture of the project here. But yeah, that is my sort of winter project when I need color in my life. This is what I pick out. It's one of my oldest projects as well, but getting slowly to a finish. I've been working on this diagonal over here. I've moved up from, you can't see it, but the lower corner, and now I'm trying to get to this, to get this whole band finished. But it's slow going because this point has a lot of I can't think of the name, confetti stitching. So it's a lot of color changes, as you can see from the number of threads hanging. But yeah, by the end of the year I hope to have reached this part at the end and maybe even more, but for now I'm happy with the progress I'm making. The tree is slowly finishing. I think this is the last bit of tree trunk, and there's some greenery over here, and then after that it will be probably a lot faster to stitch, but we'll see. I still love this piece. So that's what I've been working on currently. Then let's see, I reached a really important goal of my chatelaine, and again I will insert the picture here. So that's the chatelaine for the, I think it's called Rajasthan Lotus Pond. And I love this piece. It reminds me of the trip I took to India ages ago. But I think I finished all the cross stitching. So I'm going to show you the bottom part that I've been working on since January, or most of January I should say. I absolutely love these colors. I did not do any back stitching on this part yet, so that's probably going to be my next step. And then there's a lot of beading, well, relatively few beading for a chatelaine, but still all the border has beading in it, and I think there's some beading along the flowers, and yeah. I love these colors, and I'm really happy about how this has turned out. So yeah, that's quite a goal that I achieved there. Once I could smell the finish, I had to continue. So I've been working on that for 3 weeks to get this, all the stitching done on that. Well, on that bottom part, I should say. And then I had a start and a finish. I saw this design on Instagram from someone that I follow. They post, and I'm not sure what her pronouns are, so I'm going to say they posted on Instagram, and I fell in love with it, and I asked if it was available for sale, and it is on Etsy. I will put a link in the thingy, in the description of the video. And I think they go by the name of Sketchy Stitch. So this is my finish. I changed some of the colors because I just did, because it suited better with the background. And absolutely love this. And I stitched it in about a week. It was fun. It was like mini finishes with each line that you put in. And yeah, I think I'll just frame it and finish it that way. But I still have a big pile of fully finished pieces. So hopefully I'll get around to those this year. That was that. And then I had a new start. This week I picked out another small project to start, and we have seen all of it before. I will insert a picture here. It's the beach dance, otherwise known as, I think, the blue-footed boobies by Lindystitches. And it's been in my to start pile for a while, and I thought, well, now's the time. So I picked out a fabric and I started stitching, and I had to figure out if I liked the threads that I use, because I'm not quite picking all the threads that she suggested in the pattern, because well, it has to suit with my background fabric, and it's quite a tricky piece to figure that out, because I picked a sandy color. So this is vintage mocha by Zweigart, and as you can see, you need to find, especially for these two colors, you need to figure out what works on your background fabric. I think this is Oatmeal by Gentle Arts, and this is a DMC and slightly darker than what she suggested. But it seems to be working well, so I think I'm going to continue with these colors for now. Every time I look at it, I think, did I measure right? But it's not that big of a piece, so it should fit. I didn't leave myself a lot of margin, I think about an inch on all sides, but you know, showing up pretty well. In daylight, it's really, it shows good enough for me anyway. So I'm happy with that. And then that brings me on to a piece that I frogged, because I have been color testing also on this piece, because this is All Are Equal in Death by Dark Crosses, aka Modern Folk Embroidery. I will put a picture of the design here. And I have been working on it with my own color selection, because I picked a rather unusual background fabric that I had in my stash. It's a one-off by Silkweaver. And I was looking into colors that I could stitch the vines in, and I had a selection of 4. People on the Instagram also helped me decide. And of course, the one I liked the most, this one, the rest already is frogged, was like leftover thread of a different project, and I knew I didn't have enough to finish the whole piece. So, of course, I wanted to use that one, which brings me to my haul, because I had to go look for this. It's a Gloriana Apricot Cove, I think it's called. And I went looking for a shop that had it in stock. That I was sure that they had it in stock, because I'm kind of getting fed up with waiting for threads that I ordered like a year ago and still haven't been delivered because there's a problem with getting silks or dyes or I don't know what. So I ended up at the French online store, Reflet de Soie, which also is a designer label. So I figured, you know, I can't just order one skein of Gloriana from France. And I ordered some of the things that were on my wish list from this particular designer. And so this is the actual thread, the Gloriana thread. Let's see. It has a bit of rust and ochre yellow and some sage green colors in it. And the lighting here is, oh, this is better. I think you see it well here. Yeah. The light here is awful. It's just another grim spring day with stormy weather and clouds and grey skies and rain and whatever. But I think I ordered it after Christmas. I think I ordered it at the start of January, but I still got like a little surprise Christmas gifts package because she added on all kinds of goodies, beautifully wrapped with a beautiful little picture like this. So I received some heart-shaped buttons, like this, and like I have a handful full of them. And these are dark blue, and I also received them in a very pale pink. Similar, like this. Which I thought was really cute. I will find a use for those somehow, somewhere. And also in the package was a freebie card with a design. This is the whole design. This is a reproduction sampler, but she took out, let's see, trying to find a design that's on the back, which it doesn't appear to be on here, but I might be overlooking it, but it's like, goes like this. That's a cute little design. It's similar to the Hands Across the Sea cards that you can get. It's just a cute design, a freebie, and you can send it as a gift or just stitch it yourself. Really cute. But this is what I actually ordered. I ordered 2 patterns from my wish list. Reflet de Soie has a like a band sampler type series. It's called Petit Bonheur, which means little happiness, I guess. And you can order the individual pieces, which each has a different type of stitch that they use in it, or a pattern, or you can order it as all in one pattern, which I did, which is the 40 different patterns. And the example here is glaring, so I'll just take it out. But you see, every one is a single pattern, and you can order them individually, or you can order them as the 40 patterns that are in here. So one of these days I will stitch these. They are for Auvert à Soie silks, but I think I'm just gonna dip into my Silks for You Silks of the Month stash that I have from my subscription and use those, or whatever comes to mind. I don't know, but I do like it, and someday I will definitely start this. Someday I have it in my collection now. And this is a tapestry, Imperial Dragon tapestry, which has a Chinese Imperial Dragon. I love this design. I'm still debating the colors. I might change the blues, some of the blues to greens. I'll have to look into examples of this dragon on, I've seen it on clothing and tapestries, and I have to look at the coloring and see if I will do it in the same way. And I might actually also substitute for some metallic threads, because that would be amazing. I love this. It's been on my, she has several tapestry designs, but this was, I had to choose one. Well, I didn't have to, but I picked one. And this was high on my favorite list, so. I will leave a link to her shop in the description. It is in French, but I think they have a language button for English as well, so should be no problem. So yeah, oh yeah, and then I purchased the sketchy sit pattern on Etsy, and I also ordered some other things on Etsy because I was triggered or tempted by Arlene on 2 different occasions, Arlene Cohen from Works by ABC, to purchase something. One of them is not her own design, but if you watched one of her latest videos, you know she purchased a book on Etsy with a miniature famous paintings that you could stitch as miniature cross stitch, and I absolutely love that. And I had some silk gauze that I purchased a while back that I want to try out, and I think this would be a perfect thing to do that with, to try out the silk gauze and miniature stitching. So I will put a picture of the book here. That's just the front. There's like I have a table of contents here. There's like 133 designs in that book, and it's really good. I think you'll enjoy it. The designs are all either in landscape or in portrait, and they all have the similar size. So no matter how big the original is, the stitch version all have the same size. I think it's 37 by 28 stitches, so that's nothing. Well, it's not nothing, but you can stitch that in a day. You should be able to stitch that in a day, I think, most of you. So yeah, and then the final thing I purchased is what a lot of people have purchased and I really wanted to support this because I think it's very important to have diversity in our stitching. And Arlene was triggered by a picture that Letitia, the crafty curator, put out over a year ago of a sampler stitched by a young black girl, I think in the 1820s, from the, and I'm going to say the name wrong, so I'm going to put it here, but it was a school in New York for liberated black people to learn crafts so that they could build a better future for themselves and their families. And Rosina Disery was one of those girls, and she stitched a sampler at that school, and the sampler is currently in the possession of the New York Historical Society, I want to say. I will leave a link to a video about the sampler in my description box, because the New York Historical Society had a lecture on this specific sampler, and it was really fascinating. Arlene also provides a lot of background information in her pattern, as she always does. But Arlene, no, I should track back. Letitia posted this picture because she was hoping that someone would know of a chart for a reproduction sampler of this sampler. And Arlene was triggered by that, and she contacted the Historical Society and got permission to do a reproduction sampler. And her pattern is available at Works by ABC. I will leave a link below. And I think a lot of people hopped on to this important thing. And as did I, so I purchased a PDF version. I don't have a printed out version, but I will put a picture here if I didn't already. And I absolutely love this. I'm thinking if I'm going to stitch it any day soon, start it any day soon, I'm thinking of just doing the middle part with the text and the bands and not the sides. But I'm not sure because I also want to pay tribute to the original stitcher. So I'm not sure yet. I have to think about it. But yeah, if you haven't seen this, go check it out. There is a stitch along that Crafty Curator started. Hashtag Rosina this resell with a date in it, I think. I will leave it here. And yeah, I love this. It's important to, there's so few examples of stitching done by Black people anyhow. So I think it's important that we celebrate that there is some available and that we can all stitch on it. I'm thinking if I have anything else to say about things I purchased, but I think that's it. So I will talk about things I've been reading. And for that I need my Goodreads. I try to keep up with Goodreads on what I've been reading, and I try to leave reviews of what I've read. So if you're interested, go look me up on Goodreads. I'm there as a stitch so far, like on all my internet stuff. Okay, now I need to figure out how to see what I've finished reading. Yeah, I have been on a very lucky strike with the things that I have been reading this year. I ended up last year with a bunch of, well, not ended up, but there were a few books last year that I had a streak of not so great selections that I picked for myself. But this year I've been giving 4 stars or higher, so okay. The Map of Salt and Stars by, I'm going to butcher this name, so I apologize in advance, by Zane Yukadar. I apologize. I enjoyed this. This is like 2 stories woven together. One is about a girl and her family having to flee from current Syria to Europe, and her journey and how gruesome that is, intertwined with a story, I think sometime in the 12th century or something like that, of a girl from the Middle East traveling with an explorer in North Africa, and her heroics, and how those stories sort of connect. It was definitely worth a read, if not only for learning more about what the refugee journey is all about, but also learning more from Middle Eastern and North African history. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And then I started my reading of the Witcher books with The Last Wish. This is officially not the first that was ever published by, and again a name I will butcher, Andrzej Sapkowski. Gosh, names. But I have played some of the Witcher series. I still haven't played all of them. But I really enjoyed the games and the lore that came within, and they are based on this book series. So I looked online what people recommended, what was the best way of starting the best order of reading the books, and most of them said The Last Wish is sort of book 0.5 because it introduces you to a bit of the characters, but it's separate short stories which explain a bit about how the Witcher thinks. So that's what I did, and it was really fun because a couple of the stories are actually part of the game series, so I recognized some of them. So yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Narration was good. I read all of these as audiobooks, by the way. And yeah, if you enjoy The Witcher in any form, I think there's also a television series, but I haven't seen those. I think they might have also been based on this book as well, on these stories. But yeah, if you enjoy any of that, you may enjoy the original books as well. Although I have to say, I think I've heard some things about the author that didn't really impress me. So there's that. Then, yeah, I reread The Color Purple. Gosh, I've also always enjoyed the movie. The book is by Alice Walker. The movie is very close to the book, but the book also sheds more light on well, yeah, there's no other way of saying it. Then the lesbian love story of the book is not really part of the movie, but it's definitely in the book. It's such a beautifully written book from the first page, and I have to Alice Walker did the narration for the audiobook. High praises on that. From the first page I was in it. I was walking alongside the main character, and it was just chef's kiss. I highly recommend this book. I gave it 5 stars. Then a different color, The Color of Law, by Richard Rothstein, Adam Grouper, narrator. It's about basically how government aided in prolonging segregation between black and white Americans in the United States. A part of it I already knew because I have been learning, but part of it was new to me, but definitely worth reading it as an overview of in how many ways black people in America have been, well, to put it mildly, let down by their government. Yeah, you need to know this. You need to know this. Period. Then the last thing I finished was just, I needed an easy read after all that. So I did a double whammy of 2 of Agatha Christie's novels. These are The Secret of Chimneys and A Murder is Announced. The Secret of Chimneys, I've read both of them before, long ago. But The Secret of Chimneys, I didn't really remember what the plot line was, but both were entertaining. A Murder is Announced, I did remember who was the killer, so it's interesting to reread it when you know who did it. But yeah, both are really, really, really good Agatha Christie novels. I highly recommend. I had a tendency of, it's one of those authors, because they've written so much and they are so popular and well known. I have a tendency to rate them down a bit because of that. But I decided I shouldn't, so I gave it 4 stars because they're both really good stories, well written, sometimes a bit problematic, but that was also because they were written in the 20s and 30s, if I remember rightly. So yeah, there's that. But all in all, entertaining stories. And at the moment I am reading, I don't have a picture, I do have a picture. Currently I am reading a autobiography, the autobiography of Michelle Obama, Becoming. Oh my gosh, I am so loving this. She's narrating it as well, and it's divided into three categories. One is more about her and how she grew up and how what she did and her accomplishments. And then there's the story of how Barack Obama decided to run as for presidency and all that, what that entailed and her part in it. And the last bit that I'm reading now is about the presidency basically and her time in the White House. So good, highly recommend. Yeah, so that was my reading, and that means that I have finished what I wanted to share with you. I did not prepare any Dutch facts because I've been busy. I'm looking around to see if there's anything I can share, but no, I can't. So I'm going to leave it at that, which is a neat little about half an hour of me babbling. And I'm just going to say goodbye and thank you for watching. And I hope to see you again. And I have to go edit and check the comments on my last video and do some stitching maybe, because what else are you going to do on a rainy day like this? So take care of yourselves, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay stitching. And I'll see you next time. Bye guys.